What do you guys think is the most difficult part of the rally as a whole?
Overall, I think it's
Okay.
being on the same page and having the same goals. So you're both headed in the same direction. When you have one person that's like here for goal wise and another person that's here, you're not gonna meet, and there's gonna be tension and friction. Whereas we've had, like Jessica said, a lot of conversation about where do we want to go? What does the rally look like for us? Where do we want to end up? How do we even communicate or talk to each other if we see each other's having an issue? How best do we solve those issues? And a lot of it in the rally is going to be everybody's going to make a mistake. It's how do you adapt and overcome it is really the key.
Mm.
Hi, I'm Jessica Heeg, navigator for the Rebelle Rally team, Jess² ReRouting, and you're watching the Trailhead podcast.
Hi, I'm Jessi Puffenbarger, driver of Team Jess² ReRouting, and you're listening to the Trailhead podcast.
Rev it up, let it roar, feel the ground shake. Pedal down, dust flying, no time to waste. The trailhead's calling, engine power on a roll. This is where trails start and stories unfold. On the starlit skies, where the wild things roam. Every trail a journey, every Jeep a home. Meet me at the trailhead, where the wild ones run. The dust kicks high and the day's not done. The road wide open and the dirt in our soul. This is where trails start and our stories unfold.
Well, welcome to the Trailhead, everybody. My name is JD. Tonight we've got I'm outnumbered by every stretch of the imagination tonight. First off is Alyssa from our hosting panel. Alyssa, how you doing? I'm doing all right tonight. It's we had a blizzard last night in Colorado, so it was just supposed to drizzle a little bit, and it wasn't great.
Oh no!
I'm not really surprised. It's March. We've got a couple of ladies who are doing the Rebelle Rally this year, Jessica Heeg and Jessi Puffenbarger. They are part of Jess² ReRouting, which is their team this year for Rebelle Rally. How you guys doing tonight?
Great. Really excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm happy to have you. I'm really glad you guys reached out. I've been wanting to have somebody on, anybody that's done Rebelle and anybody that's going to do Rebelle. And so this is a little bit of both for this one. So that's perfect.
Yeah, it's something we're really excited to share about and kind of tell the world about, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year, and this is their 10th year anniversary, so it's a big year.
There's a lot of 10-year anniversaries for big events, or at least events that started real small, like when I started off-roading just a decade ago now, and it's kind of cool to see the bigness of it. Would either of you like to kind of tell the uninitiated what Rebelle is?
The Rebelle Rally is the longest off-road competitive rally in the United States, and it just so happens to be for only women. It covers about 2,500 kilometers of distance. It's a total of 10 days, but the competition itself is 8 days. You can't use GPS. You can't have any contact with the outside world in order to gain points and kind of change your ranking during the rally. You are finding checkpoints based off of coordinates, and you're using a compass and a map. And that is the only way you can get these. And there's different levels of difficulty. There's a green, a blue, and a black. The green is a very obvious flag. The blue might be a blue flag, but also might be like a spray painted PVC pipe stuck in the ground. And
Okay.
They sometimes will put them close enough to each other where you have to know the exact one that you're supposed to go to. And different teams have different coordinates, so you can't be following what other people are doing. And then the black has absolutely nothing. So you have to know you're right on the dot, and it's like a bullseye based on your points that you get. The closer you're to that exact point, the more points you get, and like the distance outside of that, and then you might get a wide miss. So,
Okay.
and then there's enduros by time and on route. Those are the two type of enduros. Did I cover everything, Jessi?
Yeah, I would say the only other thing to add is that you're not allowed to carry gas. You can only fuel up when they tell you. And everything's in kilometers and meters. So you really have to think about things differently. And you really have to bone up on your latitude and longitude.
Yeah. And kids, if you're listening, a compass is a small device, sometimes plastic or metal, that has a device or a small metal fragment that points magnetic north, and you can learn how to use it. It's a good skill to have, even in 2025.
I have mine right here. Here you go. This is the one that we use.
Nice. See,
That's
classic.
fancy.
It's old school. Oh, it's not that fancy.
No, it has a mirror and string and everything.
Mhm.
Not just like a little basic, I don't know, McDonald's. That's a real one.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, we'll get into that then a little bit more in just a minute then. Let's start with a little bit about you guys. Jessi, we'll start with you. How did you get started? Well, where are you from, first off? Where are you from? Where are you at now?
So originally, I'm from Wisconsin, born and raised
Okay.
there, and then moved here with my parents, late teens, and I've been in North San Diego County ever since. But for right now, I'm in Oceanside.
Okay. Out in California.
Yeah.
Do you like California better than Wisconsin?
Oh, 100%. I still have, my mom has 7 sisters back east, and so
Oh,
I still have family that lives there, but yeah, I'm like, I will only go in like the fall and the spring. I want nothing to do with the summer, and I don't want to be shoveling snow.
no, it's an unpleasant experience on both ends of that spectrum. Mm-hmm. And how did you end up in California?
So my dad was a musician, and we moved out here to be closer to LA, to the music scene.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
super exciting childhood.
And how did you get into the off-roading space of stuff then? Is that something that you grew up with, or is that something that you just kind of got into later in life?
So I was always kind of a, tomboy, out climbing trees as a kid, snowmobiling, and then we were overlanding before it was called overlanding. We had a Forerunner, a Sequoia. We would go out further and further and further, and then got hit by a drunk driver. And so I've been looking at a Jeep, and we're like, okay, it's time to up our game. And so we got a Jeep, built that one up. Now we have my current Jeep, which is an extreme rock crawler. And then we still overland a lot. We teach people how to do it, and we're building a rock buggy because I'm very much into the technical aspect of rock crawling. That's super passionate for me, and so we're looking to do some more extreme stuff with that.
Okay. That's a big change to go from the overlanding to the rock crawling.
Mm-hmm.
What prompted that? Was that just, did you get the bug for it, or was it just kind of you'd
So
always
I
want to
just
get the
always
big
wanted
buggies?
I like the challenge of anything hard. So I wanted to, there were quite a few trails that I was like, okay, well, we did that, but maybe we broke a few things. What do we need to do so we can go through these trails, And so, yeah, it just grew, and so did the Jeep. The more passionate I became, the bigger my Jeep got and higher it lifted.
It's usually the unfortunate cycle of abuse that happens to all of us. Yep.
Right. Exactly.
So what are you driving then? What is the Jeep that I assume is the one that I see behind you there?
Yeah, so that's my 2018 JLU. It used to be a Rubicon, but I would say we're so far past, it's funny to call it that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it has Curry Extreme axles. We have Alpine control arms, 6.5-inch lift, King shock, Rebel Recon coilovers. I mean, it has everything.
Very nice. All right. And that's this is going to be your rig for the rally?
Yeah, this will be actually its 3rd time in the rally.
Okay. And so this is your third time in it then as well.
Yep.
When was your first year?
2020, year of COVID.
Oh, that's a hell of a year to get involved.
Oh yeah. I mean, I had been following it since the start, but I'm a big preparedness girl. I want to be sure I'm ready. So I wanted to be sure I didn't need any mechanical help. I could fully take care of everything myself on the rig. So I spent a lot of time diving into the mechanics of it. And so I just kept, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And then I'm finally like, what am I waiting for? And then COVID hit and I was like, forget it. I'm still doing it.
Hey, I think a lot of us said that about a lot of travel plans we had. Anyway, we kept away from everybody.
Right? Exactly.
I mean, that's one way to do it, is to drive out into the desert away from people.
100%.
Okay. It's not the worst way to spend COVID. Nice. Okay. And then is it usually just you and the Jeep? Do you bring anybody with you? Or do you just try to get out there by yourself?
No, so actually it's kind of a family affair. Our son has a Gladiator. He had a JK, but we built that up, sold it, and then he got a Gladiator he's building. My husband has a Ram 2500. That's our tow rig and overland base camp vehicle because it has a rooftop tent. And then we have a bunch of great friends. In this community, it's like you just meet so many great people. So yeah, we usually end up going out a lot. And then I've been this past few years trying to get more women in the rock crawling sport. So we've been doing classes and stuff to try and fill that void.
Yeah, I get that part of it. It's something that I know Randy talks about, the women's runs all the time, and the fact that it just keeps getting bigger and bigger every year at Trail Hero, and it's great to see. It's nice to see, and taking on the big stuff with the big Jeeps and having a great time doing it. So it's awesome. Great.
%.
Okay. So what made you decide to want to do it again this year?
Actually, Jessica. We met each other as competitors in 2023, and both of us had different partners. And I don't know, I felt a bond with her. And so we kind of started meeting up for coffee after the rally. And then we just kind of progressed and became a team, and here we are.
Oh, all right. That's cool. That's all it takes is just when you get a chance to meet people and then you realize you guys got stuff in common. It's fantastic. Yeah. All right. Well, so Jessica, then that's a great segue into you. Let's start with the basics for you. Where are you at? Where are you at now? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Southern California, so I'm kind of in my neck of the woods. But I've lived in Colorado, North Carolina, and then I lived in a travel trailer for 2.5 years, traveling the country, towing it behind me during COVID. It was the most, honestly, I loved the years of COVID because I was out exploring and having a great time in the outdoors.
Were you working remote at the time and being I should have. I so should have. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I started my own advertising agency before COVID. And so I thankfully had some great work. And during those years, it was great for online businesses. And so work just kind of took off, and I worked traveling the country. It was great.
It's fantastic. That's really cool. All right. And are you kind of locked in now where you're at, or are you just still get a little bit more? You still get more travel now than before COVID? Maybe.
No. I'm currently at Camp Pendleton because my husband is an active duty Marine.
Okay.
But when he retires, we will not be staying in California. We'll probably end up in another state with less people. Hopefully, property and land and the ability to go and explore right in our backyard. I mean, to be honest, we do have that we're spoiled in Southern California to have a lot of that here, but I think that we will end up somewhere else. But right now we're in Southern California.
Fair enough. I think the only part about having the direct access to the trails in Southern California is that they're only accessible a certain time of the year because it's just so hot. So there's a lot of places in the country you can wheel all year. So if you want to find a place in your backyard that you can wheel all year, you might need to do a little bit of temperature research.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. And what are you driving? I take it you have your own off-road vehicle, right?
I do. I have a 2013 4Runner and bought it brand new very, very slowly built it up, but I do take it off-roading. I like to dabble a little bit in rock crawling, but I guess mostly it would be considered overlanding now. But I like the challenge of rock crawling, and I will go out with my family. And my dad brought me up off-roading and rock crawling, so he will very often take a trip. Like, we're going to do a very remote section of the Arizona Strip at the end of April for a week, and just kind of get out into nature and away from people. That's kind of what I love to do.
Alyssa, do you have feelings on that? I very much like to get away from people. Part of it.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think the odd person out here, unfortunately, is Jessica, because I don't mind the occasional rock crawling. I'm very much a 35s guy with the 2-door Jeep, and I'm closer to the overlander than I am the rock crawlers. There's space for everybody.
Absolutely.
There's not a whole lot of rock crawling in the Rebelle, is there?
No. She's so overbuilt.
Yeah, they have very little. They'll have some checkpoints that have like an X where more of the lower center of gravity, not center of gravity, the lower non-lifted vehicles probably should not go on these, where Jessi's Jeep will just, crawl right over it. But I think that Jessi's Jeep is more like, they're supposed to be more difficult checkpoints to get, if that makes sense.
Okay. It does.
Yeah,
it does.
The advantage to having my Jeep in an event like this is that because I'm so familiar with the Jeep and the suspension, whereas some people might have to slow down in certain sections, I can actually speed up. And where some people might drive around, I'll be like, no, let's just go up and over. Like, I can.
I think it's a great strategy. It's be interesting to see it against all the kind of the mid-level builds. Is this well, and we'll get to that in a second. I'm sorry. We're getting off you, Jessica. So how did you start off-roading? Did I ask you that question? Because or did we just kind of get into your vehicle build there? I think we just kind of got into your vehicle build. Yeah. How did you get into off-roading then?
Yeah, my family, my father is a big outdoorsy guy. He got me into backpacking, camping, off-roading, all growing up. And so he's also from Southern California.
That's right, yeah.
We would go all over the western states and explore, and that would be one of the ways that he and I could connect. And so then my first vehicle was a Tacoma, and then upgraded to a couple other Tacomas, and then now I have my 4Runner, and I'm going to have that 4Runner until its last day. That's not going to be anybody else's. It's only going to be mine.
We all make that commitment. I've made that commitment about my Jeep. I might stick to it. We'll see. I'm really hoping that I do. So we'll see. I think Alyssa's keeping hers until the wheels fall off her Toyota.
I think so. I'm so back and forth. Yeah, I want to keep it forever. And I also kind of want to trade a newer, but I also want to keep it forever. So I don't know.
Really? Alyssa, what do you have?
It's hard. I have a 2018 Tacoma.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is you get like there's part of it where you get it built up to a place and you're kind of comfortable and you're like, yeah, it's fun and exciting to do a new build, but I'm comfortable in this build. Like, I like it. I know what it can do. I don't have to guess about what I can and can't do with it. So I get that part. I'm going to keep my 2-door as long as I possibly can. Maybe I'll go to a 4-door one day and put it on 40s and 6.5-inch coilovers and the whole 9 yards. We'll see. I got to get them to talk me into 37s first. Jessica, then what got you into, because you've done Rebelle more than once too, right? Obviously, because you two met there.
Yep, I competed in 2023, but what got me there is I like a challenge. Like, even with hiking or backpacking, I went and hiked 7 of the 14ers in Colorado for fun by myself, or I would bring my dog, or
so let's put fun in air quotes there. Like, I appreciate you, but hiking a 14er is not a fun day for me. But I appreciate it. Yep, go ahead.
That's fair. Yeah, I think the physical challenge is what makes it fun for me, the peaks.
Okay.
And then I've done Whitney in California as well, and then just done different backpacking. And then when it comes to off-roading, the challenge is I love maps. I love looking at maps. From a young age, I looked at maps. My father, when we would be going on cross-country trips, he'd toss me a map and say, find where we are, based off of what's around us, and loved doing that. And so I think deep down I wanted to do something like a Baja 500, you know. But then I had learned about the Rebelle, and I was like, okay, I could actually, that's something doable. I could actually do that. And then my teammate in 2023, she kind of put out there on the Instagram, hey, I'm looking for a teammate, and if anybody's interested. And I was just like, hey, I might be interested, like, let's talk. And then we did talk, and she was in Northern California and I was in Southern California, and then we competed. It was really hard at the end, to be honest. We placed 4th for rookies.
Congratulations.
So we were so close to being on podium, but didn't make it, but that's okay. So Jessi had to very, very gently just like, let's just go get coffee, because I was not ready to compete. I was like,
still a little salty?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
She did a really good job, just, you know, like, let's go talk about how the Rebelle was, you know, like, not even look at the future. Let's just, you know, just, how are you doing? And we went and had some coffee, and this was last year, like mid last year, just very, very gently landed the plane. And Jessi has done a really good, I admired skills that I saw from Jessi during 2023 with her teammate. And I even told her at the end, like, I really admired, like, I saw you guys interacting and I saw how calm you were. And I thought that was really neat. And so I am really honored to be teaming up with Jessi this year. And also for us to be in the same area, and for us to meet weekly in person, and for us to be able to go out and take our vehicles off-roading is like the perfect situation. A lot of teammates either are not in the same area, or they have to take flights to go take trips together. So for us to be in the same, I'd say probably 5 miles of each other, is awesome.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, especially for a competition like this, where I assume that you guys there are teams where there are people coming from other sides of the country where they only get to meet, you know, over Zoom calls and things like that. And it's a whole different experience when you can get out there and drive each other's vehicles, or just drive the vehicle. Because you only have one navigator. I don't want to get into the weeds with that. We'll get into the weeds in a second. But at least you get an opportunity to see the vehicle you're going to be in. You guys can talk about strategy in terms of loadouts and all the stuff that you're going to have with you and the rest of it. So I like that. It's very nice. Okay. How long have you guys now been prepping for this year?
Say at least since October of last year.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk, you know, reviewing things we learned, things we wanted to do differently. And then, you know, we've started going out and doing actual mock rebels.
That's a good idea. Because you got all that southern desert to do it in, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, and to be honest, it's very easy to talk about the rally, but to actually practice the hands-on skills of the rally is very different in the vehicle. So Jessi and I, a couple weeks ago, were out in Johnson Valley, and that was our first time getting like the seat time. And that's very different than us talking about it, meeting at a coffee shop. Right. So for us to get that hands-on practice really allowed us to so slightly tweak things a bit on like, okay, how do I communicate this? Does this work for you? How do we want to do this? Is the way I'm doing this? Because we're very new when it comes to actually sitting in the seat together. That's so fresh for us. And everybody does it a little bit differently, and everybody has a little bit of a different style. So the actual hands-on practice is great for us. And we have planned to do that once a month till the rally.
And it's semi-local for you, right? Like this rally's every year in California, Nevada area, right?
Yeah, it's a different track every different track. Is that the right word? Different
route, different
route.
track,
Yes.
different route. Yeah.
Each year, so it's so
Come on,
funny.
you're a map geek. You should know this, Jessica. Work with me here.
Words are hard. Numbers are easy.
Words are hard. I say the same thing, and I host a show like this. So here we are. All right. So you guys you're meeting monthly now. You've got all this going on. Here's a great time for that question then. Within the Rebelle Rally, is one person a driver dedicated, and one person a navigator dedicated? Did you guys switch off back and forth? How does that work?
So you can switch off back and forth, but
Okay.
I mean, Jessica can certainly drive my rig. I'm happy to switch, but
Are you sure about that?
I am. I'm good with both. I mean, I can do either role. So, and that's some of the beauty of it, is that if you have that, knowledge, it makes you just a stronger team, because then what the other person's doing, what they're going through, and you can better support them in what they're doing and vice versa.
Yeah, you don't want to have your skill set completely non-existent, no overlap between them. So that's all right. Good deal. You're going to primarily be driving then, unless Jessica can wrangle the keys from you, and then, but then you're going to be doing most of the navigating. Jessica, is that new for you, or have you done that in the past?
That I did navigator in 2023 as well. We went into the rally being very open, because we're both rookies. We don't really know what's gonna land and what's gonna feel right for us. So we went in share, because we were driving a 4Runner as well. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm familiar with this. This is the same vehicle I drive normally, and so we were open to that. But as soon as we had like day 0, it was me saying, I feel really comfortable in this position. Are we good with me kind of continuing this and kind of continuing to check in? And she was very open to that. So she ended up becoming driver the whole rally, and I was navigator the whole rally. And
Okay.
Jessi and I have talked about for me to be navigator for this upcoming rally as well. But, like we said, maybe there's something happens and we need to be flexible and we need to shift, and we'll do that if we need to.
At the very least, Jessi will know if you're just driving her out into the middle of the desert nowhere and to bury the body someplace. Yeah. Because that's what off-roaders and overlanders don't really want you to know, is that we know all the places where the bodies can go.
Right? Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And probably many of them are going to be on this rally course, I'm guessing. Now, rock crawling, for the definition of our, it varies from person to person, right? Tokerville Falls, Alyssa and I were made fun of because someone told us it was a dirt road. And we're like, it is, but it's not quite a dirt road. Like, there's some rocks in it and it's a little bumpy. Have you gone beyond that kind of level? Like, or have you been in a vehicle like Jessi's and been, kind of doing the thing where you're at an extreme angle, tipsy?
I mean, I've done that in my 4Runner.
Okay.
But I
in
don't.
Questionable circumstances?
And what was that?
Questionable circumstances?
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. On what is it? Poughkeepsie. Yeah.
Poughkeepsie.
Would that be considered rock crawling?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got your stripes. Yep, you're good. You win. Yep,
like
you're good.
That is and I almost flipped on that one. I definitely, or like even in Southern California on Anzabrigo, like Heart Attack Hill would be some of the more extreme steep stuff is what I'm doing with my father. He has a totally souped up Jeep and I blindly follow him, but I also know he's not going to take all of the bad scratches I have on my 4Runner are when I'm with my father. Like there's something called the squeeze, and a 4Runner for the most part without rock sliders should not be going through the squeeze, but that's where my scratches came from. But that's part of the fun. So
always trust your spotter, even if it's a family member.
Yeah. I disagree. Well, I will not let spot for me. No way.
There are other hosts of this show that I won't let spot for me, so I feel that, and that's a family level of this too. Mm-hmm.
That's totally fair.
Whew. All right. No, but Poughkeepsie, all right. You're qualified. I feel like you could easily jump in there and just go at any time. You're good to go. I feel like some of us are, when I talk to some folks, there are folks that just have, the strict overland, right? You're just talking the back roads and, a little bit of bump here and there, and not necessarily getting out onto the hard stuff and putting your tires up on some stuff that makes you question whether or not you made a good decision about tire placement.
Oh yeah, totally. I think that's actually what I love about it, because overlanding is something very much that I would do just totally, completely by myself. I have no problem going out really far away on a easy trail, but I like the medium difficulty trails, because it's like, maybe I should have somebody with me, and I'm not going to push myself too far to get myself stuck or in a sticky situation. But it's like I am skilled enough to push myself a little bit, and I feel comfortable doing this. But if there's anything that's like 100%, I need someone's support here, then I won't do that by myself. And that's when I go with my father. Like, he has an off-road group that he goes with almost monthly to go off-roading with, and that's when I will pull out the hard cards.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think we're all in this group. We're very much in the camp of wheel safely in whatever capacity that means for you, right? Like if you're the kind of folks like us that like to go out in the middle of nowhere, but like to go by yourself, at least you have a satellite messenger or some other way to get a hold of people, those kinds of things. So yeah, I never get on anybody for wheeling by themselves unless they're doing, level 10 trails on Sand Mountain and Sand Hollow. Then they probably need to have a discussion with somebody.
Yeah. My father actually has had, thankfully he has a spot and I have a spot as well. And he's had an accident in the past where he did have to get airlifted out. So he knows the importance of always having that on his hip to be able to get help if needed.
Yeah. It's helped me out a couple times in the last couple of years, and it's the cheapest $15 worth of monthly insurance that I can think of. So it's good for me. It's cheaper than that too. Cheaper than that. I got the expensive two-way, so I can tell people how badly I'm screwed.
Perfect.
It's fun. It's fun to do that. All right. Are you doing like a day trip? Are you doing multi-day trips? Are you guys planning on doing any kind of like a long extended trial run of any kind? Or are you just going to do the day trips and kind of see what you learn from those?
I wish let's take a week off. Let's go do it in a week.
Yeah, all right. No, I mean, we're doing quite a few weekends, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday type thing, training. But yeah, the week, unfortunately for me, my event schedule starts now, as well as it's busy time for my work.
Of course. Yeah. Well, you still have till October, so you've got plenty of time to come up. So, I mean, that's a great question then. I mean, I know I have that struggle. I mean, I have a day job. This is not paying my bills. I doubt this is paying your guys' bills for you. If you're willing to answer that question, Jessi, what do you do during the day?
So I'm a real estate broker, co-owner of my own company, and I'm property manager.
That's right. Okay. So that is busy for you then. Good Lord. Yeah. This time of year. All right. At least it's easy-ish to step away once you can plan out a little bit from it. Because I doubt you're going to do a whole lot of stuff. Well, you're not going to have a cell phone on the trail.
I have Starlink, so I did 2 weeks Continental Divide up to Canada, and I was working the whole time.
Oh boy, I don't know if I love that or hate that.
I love it because then I can, I mean, obviously some things I can't do. I can't show a house from way out there, but I can work on contracts, keep clients' escrows going. Handle any property management issues, any of that stuff. So for me, it's a godsend.
All right, fair enough. You guys, I'm really jealous of it. I'm really, really just jealous of it all. So as long as you guys can balance that time between the two, I mean, that's, do you think this is going to take up all your free time between now and the event?
Takes up a lot. It takes up a lot. It really is running another business, because someone asked me today, like, what are you doing for the rally? every day. And I'm like, oh, but let me tell you, it's responding to emails, trying to find sponsors, trying to find vendors for an event, putting the website up, our event page, promoting it on social media, promoting the crowdfunding campaign that we have live. So there's just consistent showing up and telling the world our story and telling the world what we're excited to do and our goals and our it really is a daily in today's day and age. The amount of noise that's out there, it's hard to stand out. So
Yeah.
that's why we're here to tell our story because we're so excited about it.
It's a fun story to listen to. It's a fun story to be telling. Like I've always liked the idea of it. When I saw them start it at the beginning, I'm just like, this just seems like just such a cool way for people to get out and get some like real skills that I feel like a lot of people are losing, and encourage other people, even if they're not participating in the event, to watch it, or in other words, some other way do that.
Yeah. And really, when it comes down to it, the Rebelle itself, even registration, is so expensive. And so the support that we get from friends and family and sponsors and telling the story is really what helps us focus on being able to practice our skills more so than focus so much attention on trying to get fundraising for it.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the fun part of these kinds of things, right? Is getting on and essentially like this is like going on. This is not going on CNN, by the way, just so you know. But this is like going on the news to talk about whatever it is that you're got coming up, just to get a few people to come to the site. So, and we will plug all your stuff before the end of the show, and I will link to all your guys' stuff so that you guys can, if you're out there listening, you want to help them get prepared for this year. There'll be tons of ways that you can do so before we get off at the end of the show. So, you guys, when you guys get out into the rally itself, how long is that? 6 days? 7 days?
8 days of
8
competition.
days. And that's just day in, day out, right? You're just driving most of the day, sleeping, and got to cook all your own meals and all that stuff in between?
So we don't cook our own meals. They do have a chef that will provide us breakfast and then dinner. But yeah, most of the time we're up at 4 a.m. and we're not back till like 5, 6 o'clock, and then start over again. And we're camping the whole way, carrying all our own gear.
Fun. And setting it up and tearing it down the next day too.
Yep.
Okay. No rooftop tents on the Jeep?
No. For me, oh my gosh, that would put me too much off camber. Or even in the sand dunes, because you drive dunes. Oh my gosh, adding that extra weight up top, that would be almost detrimental.
Yeah, Alyssa, that was the one thing I did kind of want to see was your Tacoma try to take and the rooftop tent try to take on the dunes out in Sand Hollow, because I think that would have been fun to watch.
It's not impossible. I can help you. I can do it in my Ram truck. So I mean, you can do it, just not the really, really big ones. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, it's also got that wheelbase.
Yeah.
Since you both have done it before, do you guys feel like there's a longest day out of the event itself? Is it because of like the timing of it? I mean, I know you guys don't necessarily know what your route is going to be from place to place, day to day, but is it much? Do you feel like you get more energy towards the end of it, or do you feel like you're just struggling with the coffee to get it to keep it going?
I think that, and I'm coming from still kind of a newbie with only having one rally, so I'll speak from my one rally perspective. It was kind of interesting how it progressed, because the first couple days were in the Mammoth area, and there are very defined trails out there. Then we moved to the more OHV areas where there's trails anywhere and everywhere, and it's a little bit harder to follow a map with those trails. So it progressively got harder. And then the last days were in Glamis, which were all sand dunes. So that is another totally different way of maneuvering through that kind of terrain. Some people will say during the rally that like day 3, you have a day 3 and that's your one bad day where things go bad, or you and your teammate get into it. And to be honest, my day 3 was the last day. And I learned a lot from that last day. And Jessi and I have had so many conversations of like, here's what happened. How do we prevent that from happening? What do we do to kind of go about this in a different strategy on our last day, or not our last day, but whenever that day, if that day were to come to like happen.
Mhm.
So from my perspective, and from what I've heard, is that the rally kind of gets a little bit harder each day, and there's new curveballs. Like for instance, one day they had a map, and if you wanted to get 3 more checkpoints, you had to turn your map in, and they gave you another map, and this map was super washed out, so it was really difficult to see the terrain, and it was another challenge if you wanted
Mm.
to. So it's kind of what you bring to the table. What are your skills? What have you practiced? What are you prepared for? And how are you learning together as a team as you face those challenges, whatever they may be, every year? Because they keep saying last year was the hardest, and they keep, every year keeps getting a little harder. That's my perspective.
I think for me, after you've done the second day, you kind of hit your groove. It's kind of like long-term camping. Once you've hit that groove, then it just gets better and better and better. And I feel like for me, after day 2, like I'm just like, yeah, okay, I got my groove. I know where things go. You have all your stuff arranged the way you want it, like, and then it's like game on.
I see that 100%. I feel like I think that the fear for me would be hitting a wall at the end. I get to day 6 or so, but there's also a part of me that wonders if it would just be pure adrenaline at that point. And it sounds like
Well,
where you get, Jessi, you just kind of
yeah, because for
do you
me,
crash real hard when you get home?
no. No, honestly, for me, I
Okay.
think make it longer and I would keep going. I would love that. Like I've often said, like during COVID, they were threatening to cancel, and I'm like, no, I can cook all my own stuff. I can bring my own food. I can bring a fridge. Like, let's go, you know? So yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I would be up for a even longer one, but I know some people would not be down for that.
I could also see that too. Yep. What about you, Jessica? Would you do a longer one? Are you going to stick with the 8 days for now, and then let's revisit this next year?
I probably could do a longer one. The challenges of sleeping out there and eating out there and going to the bathroom out there and surviving out there is not the part I think that is tiring. I think the tiring is so much focus, very, very, very direct focus for so many hours.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I probably could do a couple more days. Yeah, I think I could.
Okay. Interesting. We'll have you guys back after the rally in like November-ish, and then I'll play this clip, and then we'll talk about whether or not you guys feel like there should be more days or not in the rally itself.
Yes, yes, it's a
I very
great
much is. That's one of my
plan.
favorite things to do is pull back old footage from people.
I love it. Absolutely, great idea.
All right. You guys have done these both separately. Jessica, what's something that you feel like you've learned from your previous run that you haven't talked about already that you're going to be taking into this next year?
Jessi and I, each team has to kind of decide on what their goals are going to be
Mhm.
for the year. And Jessi and I have had those conversations of a big one of them is, showing up like the best for our teammates and being able to have that open communication between each other on what's going on. And it's really kind of a mindset. And I recently listened to a TED Talk by Emily, who is the one who puts on the Rebelle Rally, and she talks about like true north, and it's very much about the rally, like with looking at our compasses. It's like anytime we feel lost, or anytime you kind of don't know where you're at, or you can't gain your bearings or know anything, you feel like you have to figure out where north is, because if you know where north is, then you can figure out where you're at. And so that is something that I think I want to bring into this rally of whether it be, having some like flashcards of like some affirmations just to get myself a little bit back on track, or almost like a reset like routine. Like if I'm getting a little caught off guard or feeling out of control, to kind of take a couple steps to get myself back into the mindset of like, how do I get myself back to how do I get myself back to north in my head, in my wherever I'm stressed. And I think that with communicating that with Jessi every day and being open to shift our goals a little bit every day as needed, and not just be, we have to do it this way, it must be this way, we can't shift. I think going into it with an attitude of flexibility and open communication with my teammate is really what's going to be the key to us being successful.
Okay. That tracks. That's a good. Those are all good points all the way around, actually, and not just for doing a Rebelle Rally. Those are just good from day to day, right? Yeah. What about you, Jessi?
I think for me, like 2023 was, I think, one of my a real difficult year for me, from the standpoint that I kind of had to, in order to support my partner, do a lot of dual role. So I don't felt like I really got to compete and push myself as hard as I can. So with Jessica being as strong as she is, I feel like we're really going to have an opportunity to push ourselves, because, you know, part of the Rebelle is seeing how far you can push yourself and improve day by day on everything you've done. So I think, you know, the work we're putting in this year to make our team strong, and like Jessica said, communication, being on the same page, is really key. And I'm super excited to see how far we can go.
That's awesome. I think people underestimate how much having just a good teammate in a situation like this can really just push you through like the hardest the hardest moments, right? When it's hot and you don't want to be working on whatever it is that you're working on, or you're stuck in something, you're trying to get out. But if you've got good communication, you guys talk back and forth, it can make all the difference and make you not want to kill each other.
Yeah, I don't think we'll
All
have
right.
that. Although we've both seen that.
Well, and you be prepared for it, right? Like, it's one of those things. Like, everybody gets as much as I want to, and I can't even lie and say that I don't have a temper sometimes, but most of the time, like, I don't have those things. But when you got to be conscious of those things, especially in moments like this where you're actually testing you're burning the candle at both ends, literally, as you go through this rally.
It's a big endurance challenge as well. And that's some of the conversation that comes for us as well, where I told Jessi, go and talk to my teammate. So, you know what, like before we even agreed to anything, I said, go talk to my teammate and talk about all the difficult things or the things that were hard about me during the rally, because I will have my moments. And what does that look like? And that's where Jessi and I have discussed, what do we do when I hit my wall, or what are some things we can do to help support each other. And so that's really comforting, I think, to know that I feel confident with Jessi in those moments, because we've had those conversations.
Awesome. Do you guys think or maybe just end this question, what do you guys think is the most difficult part of the rally as a whole? If you had to put a pin on this is the most difficult thing.
I think really it's communication overall. I think it's being on the same page and having the same goals, so you're both headed in the same direction. When you have one person that's like here for goal wise and another person that's here, you know, you're not gonna meet, and there's gonna be tension and friction. Whereas we've had, like Jessica said, a lot of conversation about, okay, where do we want to go? What does the rally look like for us? Where do we want to end up? You know, how do we even communicate or talk to each other if we see what, you know, each other's having an issue? How best do we solve those issues? You know, and a lot of it in the rally is going to be, everybody's going to make a mistake. It's how do you adapt and overcome it is really the key.
Okay.
Love that. I would like to borrow that as the first part of mine because that is excellent. I love that.
Thief.
But also, in addition to that, I know for me, the hardest part of the rally is what's happening inside of my head. It's really me either the self-talk or not getting right on the checkpoint that I would have wanted. And that's why I think the things like the flashcard and the reset routine are going to be really important to me, because I will get caught up in my mind of why didn't I get that right on the dot? Why didn't I get that black? Should I have gotten that black? There's so many questions of where did I get that off, and replaying in my mind, what should I have done, rather than taking what's now, letting go of the past and moving forward. That is, I think, the hardest thing for me. And this is great conversation for Jessi and me to have later too. Of how do I get myself to say, okay, I messed up. It is what it is. I need to move forward now. And I think that for me is the hardest point. And for a lot of rebels to not hold on to, oh, I didn't get that checkpoint, or I messed up, or we didn't do what we could have done, or hold on to that past. And each day, they say, every day you wake up, make it a new day. Don't bring the previous day. Hash out everything the night before. Like, don't bring it into the next day. And that, I think, is kind of hard for me. So that's something that is a challenge for me.
No, that's great. I'm a person that struggles with that. You don't always live in the moment. You dwell on what you think was a mistake. It may not have actually been a mistake, but you just think it was. And so then the next thing you know, you're actually making more mistakes. And it's just a snowball effect that happens. 100% get that. I think that's good advice. Again, we're back to a place where it's good advice whether or not you're doing the Rebelle Rally or not. Don't get in your head. Try to stay out of it as much as you can, and try to live in the moment and roll with the mistakes as you go. So, well, and in that same vein, then, what's something you guys wish that everybody knew about the rally as a whole?
I think the other thing is people really underestimate the physical and emotional endurance that you need for a rally like this. And so to just be cognizant of it, don't underestimate it, because I feel like those are the people that tend to have issues in the rally, because they really, and it's just like anything else. You can prep somebody all you want, but until they do it, they don't know what they don't know. And that is one thing that I think I've seen constantly underestimated by people is how much mental toughness to continue at that level for that many days, and the physical strain it takes on you to continue at that pace for that long too.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people who are interested in it, be prepared for it to, I guess, kind of give you a kick in the pants of your weaknesses are going to show up. Your strengths are going to show up. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. Some people who compete in it call it life-changing because they needed that to learn something about themselves to move on. And it really gives you an outside view into where you need to grow and how you can become a better person if you go in with that attitude. If you go in with an attitude of, like, I know everything and I'm not going to get anything out of this, like, I can guarantee you, you're probably going to crash and burn. You need to come in with an attitude, and all of the women are very giving. This is a very different competition because there is the little like competition here and there of secrets, but for the most part, all of the women are very giving. They're all willing to help you learn. They're all willing to help you problem solve. And that is a very, very different kind of competition from those who are like, keep everything secret. Don't tell anybody anything. We have to keep all of our like information about our team private, where this is a very giving. Not all teams are like that, but I'd say majority of the rally teams are like that.
I mean, I assume that everybody still has a dose of the competition in them, but it seems it has always felt like it was much more of a cooperative event than it was a competitive event. Like there was always the competitive piece of it, but it always felt like there was the cooperation piece was above everything else.
Yeah, the way that people will, the girls will say it, well, that if you're able to kind of level up to what they have learned, then that's a better competition for them. Because if everybody can kind of be on a level playing field, then it's more of a competition that rather than there being very big distances between who you're competing with when it comes to skill or knowledge. So it's just supporting each other to make it a better competition.
Cool. That's good. I love everything you guys are talking about in terms of how you guys are planning on tackling this. And part of the reason why, and the piece that I haven't shared with you guys yet, is that Alyssa and I will be participating as part of the show in a similar event in the next couple of months, actually. We won't be quite doing the competitive piece as hard as we will be there covering the show, but I have a feeling there'll be at least one or more moments where she'll be looking at me like, you just need to stop talking now. So these are all good things that we should probably have conversations about before we get on the road. Good to know. Okay. This entire interview was just a ploy for me to get information on this kind of stuff, guys, just so you know. All right. So let's talk about the hard stuff, right? The fundraising part of it. I know that there's a piece of it. I mean, with any of these events, you guys have gear that you need to have. You get equipment, you got training, all of those things that go into it. What kind of efforts do you guys have going on for your fundraising pieces of it between now and October?
So we've done already one event. We're doing a second event the end of this month, March 29th. And we're doing kind of different themes for each fundraiser. This one is Tales and Trails, focusing on our four-legged friends that go on the trail with us. So that's one of them. Yeah, exactly. Because, who doesn't love a good pet on trail? So we're doing that. And then we have, many more fundraisers that we'll be doing. We're also selling merch. Jessica did a great job putting up our crowdfunding campaign where people can buy T-shirts, hats, patches, stickers to support us. So that's another way, or they can just make a contribution to our team. Of course, we're, always looking for, a sponsor or vendor that wants to come on board. And I still have some room on my Jeep. So, feel free to reach out and, talk. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at doing different things to raise the funds.
Okay. Yeah. And that comes from a place of just understanding that this is, we all know it needs to be done in these kinds of events. And I know there's, how many teams are there how many teams were there last year? Do you guys know?
Last year, I believe there was 54 teams, if I'm not mistaken, because there's both a 4x4 class and a crossover class. So, and that. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're all competing for a lot of the same dollars. So I also understand that part of it too. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we'll get the show up there before the March 29th one. But if not, I'm sure we'll have other opportunities throughout the year to mention that you guys are holding a fundraiser somewhere. And then you're friends of the show now. So there you go.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit more into the crowdfunding campaign if I may.
I guess. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the crowdfunding campaign has 6 different packages, and like Jessi was talking about, it starts there's different options. The smallest package starts at $25, and it goes up to $1,000, and there's different perks that you get for each package. Some have exclusive videos from us weekly, either monthly, or like a specific shout out video for our sponsors. Not sponsors, sorry, sponsors are separate. For those supporting us, like the just regular people supporting us, as well as an opportunity for them to get their name on the rig if they purchase that package. And there's also ways to donate just directly, whether it be with a credit card or Venmo, PayPal. Then there's a gift certificate. They can go directly to the Rebelle Rally website. And there's a gift certificate or gift card that they can purchase, and all of that money goes directly towards our registration fee.
All right, see, lots of options then. Yeah, all the way up and down the line from the smallest to the biggest. Very cool. Easy.
Oh, yeah, and JD, I meant to mention too, I'm sorry, I got distracted because my dogs were barking. So I'm sorry.
This is the house that ADHD built, so you're amongst friends.
Okay. Thankfully, I know I'm not alone. I meant to mention too, the crowdfunding campaign, it goes all the way through the end of April.
Okay.
And if not, they can still follow us and by just going to our website and or following us on Instagram. They don't have to donate anything if they don't want to. If they just follow us, if they just want to be on our email list, we'd love to share our journey along the way.
Yeah,
Or if
that's
they
the
see
that's the
me-
biggest part of this, right?
Yeah, or if they come to any of the events I'm at, I always carry our team merch with us, so they can always help out and get a shirt, a hat, anything they like.
I mean, seriously, like if the easiest way is always to throw somebody, $20 just to help with something like this. But if you guys, merch is always the funnest way, right? Because then you have something to show off when you go to the other off-road events. All right, nice. And yeah, it's like I said, guys, I only bring it up because I know we need to talk about it because it's something you guys need to do. And it's part of this whole, it's the whole adventure. It's the whole process of doing this, right? Like if you're going to sign up for doing this, right. You got to be prepared for this piece of it. This is, as Jessica was talking earlier, like there's a part of it that's just the grind and getting up and doing the emails and replying to people and sending out the cold emails and making the cold phone calls going, would you like to send me some money? Because the first couple times you do that, man, it's one of those things where you're just like, wow, I'm not a salesperson. I need to sell myself in some way, shape or form. And it becomes a skill. So they're really teaching you guys the whole gamut then, just not on trail, but off trail as well.
That's true. Yeah.
All right. Well, what else should we hit here? We're coming up on the time where I feel like I've taken enough of yours. Jessica, do you have anything else that we need to get out of the gate here before we kind of wind things down?
Only thing is, we just want to thank you so much, both of you, for giving us the time and the space to share our story and to get to know us a little bit and share it with your listeners. We hope they love this episode because we really loved this conversation.
I think they will. Sometimes you get good interviewees that kind of lead themselves into their own questions, and then you don't have to do all the heavy lifting, and it makes it so much easier for me. So thank you, guys.
I did think of one. So obviously we can follow you on Instagram, online, everything. What about people who are wanting to sign up? Is registration still open or is it closed for this year? And then when about does next year's open?
Yeah, registration is closed for this year. And then if they wanted to sign up for 2026, registration generally opens after the Rebelle is finished. So not until October, right when the Rebelle is done, will registration open up for 2026. But 2025 is full.
Is there a wait list, Jessi, where if people could fill out the form?
You can pay to be part of. And then if a team drops out, depending on where you're at in the wait list, obviously you could have the potential to take the spot. That doesn't happen too often. I know I was on the wait list and
that's a lot.
Didn't get in. So
that's a lot to hustle to in the last minute as well. Like if you suddenly get called up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then one more question. What about viewers and spectators? How do we watch you compete? Is it online, in person?
Yeah, I'll just give a little plug here real quick too. Is if you are on our email list, we will be giving you all the links and all the updates, and that you can watch every single day. You'll be able to see the live, because there's a live show every day during the rally, and you can see the standings. You can see all the information about our team. We'll give you all those links. So that would be through our website, which is just 2rerouting.com, signing up for the emails there. But you can also just go to the rebellerally.com, and they will have it posted all over their website when it's actually live. So the dates are October 8th through the 18th. So that's when they're going to have all of their videos up and everything. Did I miss anything, Jessi?
No, I think that's about it. And then, of course, follow our social medias, because we'll also post links in there, updates. While we're on the race, we won't be posting the updates, but somebody will be posting them for us.
Oh, nice. Do you get a social media handler for the duration?
Yeah, called our spouse.
Ah. So another unpaid intern. I like it. And we do the unpaid intern thing here a lot. Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's
Yep.
genius.
Perfect.
It is a family business.
Yeah, but I think if you label them as an unpaid intern, there's probably a tax write-off in here somewhere. I'm just telling you.
Oh, there
Just
you
so
go.
you know.
I need to
Yeah.
look into that.
Talk to me off air. We'll chat.
Okay.
I got all the details about that one. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I really appreciate you guys taking out some time. I know, it's March now and we're recording this, and it's, full, 6-7 months until you guys are actually going to do this race, but there's a lot of prep involved. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes into doing these kinds of big events. And if you guys have never seen the Rebelle Rally, by all means, go check it out. I think it's rebellerally.com. There's tons of video and stuff up there. They're on their YouTube video. If you follow their Facebook pages and stuff, there's tons of the stuff up there from last year and all the kind of stuff that they did with folks along the way, which is really cool to look at and check out. I assume that there's moments we might see you guys in some of that old footage? Yes?
Mhm.
No? Maybe? Do you not? You're okay. Or was it kind of thing you got home and you never wanted to look at it again, so you don't know?
Oh, I looked
you
at it
can
a
find
lot.
Okay, that's totally fair. And then for you guys, it is Jess² ReRouting, and I had the website here properly. It is Jess² ReRouting. So, and I'll link to all this in the show notes, so it'll be easy for people to click on and get to you guys. There's links on there for their crowdfunding campaigns, the merch shop that we were just talking about, and then looks like plenty of spaces for their blog and your upcoming events and stuff that are on top of the stuff that we've already talked about, right?
Yeah, lots of stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Good deal.
very much.
Well, thank you guys. Oh, see, that was it. We went the whole show without getting one ding.
And I have it on Do Not Disturb, and it was my sweet husband asking if I'm still doing the interview.
Don't feel bad. I had one go off earlier, and I'm like, I'm going to have to edit that out later. And don't feel bad at all.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Are you kidding me? This is the part. No, you're totally fine. You should see what ends up on the cutting room floor. Alyssa will tell you. She's been to some of those shows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's get back on subject. We'll have that conversation off air. Again, thank you guys. Jess² ReRouting. Thank you guys. Jessica Heeg, thank you very much for joining us. Jessi Puffenbarger, thank you very much for joining us. Check them out online at the Jess² ReRouting website, and we'll link to them at the trailheadnetwork.com. Thank you guys very much for coming on the show, and hopefully we'll see you again soon, and hopefully we'll see you before Rebelle.
Perfect.
Thank you.
This is where trails start and our stories unfold.